Hello, once again. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Jason Lewis. We have another interesting show today. And today, again, we'll be talking about relationships in part of our conversation. And we will also be talking to Holly Cotton about a new book that she just came out with. And once again, we like to have raw, unfiltered conversations, just our own thoughts and opinions and viewpoints and experiences in life. So I'll let Holly introduce herself and we'll get into the show.
Yes, well, of course, Holly Cotton, and nurse by trade. I have a master's in nursing, author. I have over 20 books. Of course, I do everything for mental health. I have an adolescent mental health organization, Your Mind, Your Magic, which I actually have gotten a day in the city for my impact on mental health. And, you know, I do a bunch of stuff to talk about self-love, relationships, post-relationships, how to make sure that you're choosing you before you're trying to force yourself to be with someone else. So all of that stuff is under the umbrella of Holly Cotton. So I do a bunch of everything.
Okay. Well, definitely happy to have you here today. And some of the things that you mentioned, we're definitely interested in hearing your viewpoints on today. And could you tell us a little bit about the mental health aspects that you've worked with and how they relate to relationships?
Yes. Well, again, being a nurse, I feel that looking back at my nursing career, I always say, dang, I've been a mental health advocate and didn't even know it, because you're the one that's, you know, talking to the patient. They're getting a new diagnosis. They're going through something. They don't have a support system, or they're scared. Like, you're the person that's sitting at the bedside a lot of times holding these people's hands. You know, the family is only allowed to go to a certain part, especially post-op, pre-op. So the nurses are really the ones that are there, you know, when you wake up, when you're going in, the fear, all of those feelings that you have. So again, a lot of people don't have a support system. So they're dealing with these things alone. That's when relationships are really tested, you know, how they say, for better or for worse. So sometimes the worst part comes out when people are challenged, when there's health challenges. So again, I look back and I go, wow, I've just always been in this mental health space. It's just that now we're so observant about labeling it as mental health and being a mental health advocate that now, you know, you're starting to see that, you know, these are things that a lot of us were doing in these roles. So all of that has definitely been part of who I am. I mean, I've always had a huge heart, been a nurturer. I've always been about helping people. So then after I wrote my first couple of books, you know, I was just talking, and then I started speaking on women empowerment panels and being around women and sort of saying, wow, so this is a niche, you know, let's see what we're doing. We're all kind of coming together. Everyone kind of has the same trauma, same feelings that they've gone through. And then my last part of the mental health was, the last part of my mental health edition was focusing on the youth, because I sat back and I was like, okay, is there a way for us to intercept that the youth are coming up? Like, can we stop them from getting the PTSD that we're all dealing with right now? Wow. So then that's whenever I was like, okay, let me write a book. So I started off with one affirmation book, Your Mind, Your Magic, Affirmation Anthems for Teens. So I wrote that book, and then I wound up making 8 or 9 books. I think it's 9 books in the series, because then I went for kids, teens, little kids, kids on the spectrum, because I have one for kids that are autistic or neurodivergent, and then I have a book for grief for kids, and then my last book is for teens and tweens and teens, and it's called If I Could Tell You the Truth, because when I made my free website, yourmindyourmagic.com, they can go on there, and I actually created an AI I call it the magic bot, and you can get magic words. You can actually talk to it. So it's free therapy for kids. They can go on there, they can access it, they can type in, I feel sad, or I'm lonely, or I'm worried about a test, or, my mom's being mean. I don't know, whatever kids and teens go through. And it gives them actual tangible things that they can implement, ways to process whatever it is that they're going through. And I get the analytics. And so when I was looking at the analytics, the common sort of theme was, I wish I could tell my mom. I wish I could tell my dad. I wish I could talk to my parents about this. So that's why I created the book, If I Could Tell You the Truth. And then I have a course that I also teach on that also. And basically, it's a way for teens to learn how to not only talk to parents, but take accountability for, maybe it's your tone, maybe it's the times that you're picking, maybe the words. You don't have the words to initiate an open conversation. So, it's all of those things as well, because sometimes you have to learn how to be accountable, because I can come to you and I'm in a bad mood, or you're in a bad mood, and I'm like, I tried to talk to you, but you didn't want to listen. But maybe it's the way that I spoke to you. Maybe you didn't understand. You weren't receptive to what I was trying to relay to you. So I do tons of stuff about communication, open communication, and all my books are kind of about that too, like communication, accountability. So again, that's the mental health part of it.
It definitely sounds like you were ahead of the trend of what is really truly happening now, which is a lot of people are being more open about the need to address mental health. And due to COVID, a lot of things changed for a lot of people. I recently had someone on a podcast, and they were discussing how they were able to see the reality of their relationship during that time. And ultimately, they decided to break up, split from each other. But also, you talked about affirmations, and I really believe big in affirmations and journaling. I think they're huge aspects of healing, and it's wonderful, because a lot of people don't tend to look at the youth. And I worked with teenagers for approximately 5-7 years straight, and I think that's the key. If we get them while they're young and it's early, I think they'll have a lot more tools to work with. When you talk about mental health, and from your standpoint of what you understand, and talking to women, and some of the things that women have gone through, and again, there's a trend more so now to really support women in trauma healing and things of that nature. But it seems like a lot of times men can run for the hills when they see that those issues arise. What are you seeing as some of the key areas or things that we can do to support each other during those tough, some of those situations, serious mental health issues? How can we support each other?
Well, that's a very broad category, but I think one of the problems that we're having right now with women, mental health, trauma, or allowing too many men to be vocal about issues that are related to women. So every time you look on social media, it's some men, talking on a podcast. We don't like when women do this. We don't like when women do that. Why y'all doing this? Why, men cheat for this? This is that. Like, there are too many people that have platforms that shouldn't. And what happens is that it gets blurred, because there are men that are looking to social media for guidance about maybe how I need to date, or how should I proceed with a woman. And if you have someone that's, barking in your face, telling you about, women ain't this and women ain't that, and we don't like women with nails. We like women with nails. We don't like women with red shoes. Now we like women with red shoes. Like, there's so much pressure on both of the sexes, men and women. And so I think that, the unsolicited advice that will find their way to your algorithm is a huge obstacle that a lot of people have. So I think, first of all, that's it. Stop looking stop looking to social media to help you with your relationship. And then also, you have a lot of women now that are speaking about issues for men. You know, you have a lot of women, okay, men, women like this, women don't like that, women like this, women don't like that. And honestly, it's way too broad, because what you prefer as an unmarried woman, or as a woman that's been divorced, or a woman that has trauma, you can't speak for all women, because what you settle for or what you want is not what I want or what the next woman wants. Like, everyone is not just a catch-all. You know, everyone has their own preferences, their own ideals, their own ideas. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest obstacles that a lot of people have. So I try not to speak for all women. You know, I speak for, this is a demographic that I talk to. These are the populations that I'm trying to speak to. These are the things that I can offer. Take it or leave it. I'm not saying this is all women. I'm not saying this is all trauma. I'm not saying this is all post-breakup. I'm not saying that everyone's triggers are the same. I'm speaking for, if this is applicable to you, if this resonates with you. So I try not to speak on like everyone and be like, okay, so women, this is the problem with women, because I've done things in my life that some women haven't. You know, some women are still, 50s and never been married. You know, some people have been married for 30 years and they just got divorced, So you have to meet people where they are. And then again, what resonates with you? What can I share that maybe you can take and put into your self-love practices?
Yeah, I love that, because it is in many ways about taking what you can use and leaving the rest behind. But, I also see that from my personal experience going through this journey, I've learned by talking to so many people similar to the aspects of what you're saying, is it becomes a navigation of self-discovery for those individuals, so they have their own autonomy to make those decisions and see what's right for them. When you were speaking earlier, what is the book again with talking to parents? What was the name of that?
If I Could Tell You the Truth.
If I Could Tell You the Truth. And again, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I've been stuck on this thing. There's a trend out now where, and I said you're way ahead of the game, but there's
I tried. That's why I'm successful, right?
There's a trend out there now where parents are genuinely asking their children, what can I do to be a better parent? And, that's a tough thing in itself. And when you have, when a parent has several children, and being able to understand that those children each have different needs, I think that that goes a long way when they start to venture and look into that. So I think that's great. While I'm thinking about it, I want to mention, what was the book? It was something that
I
you
know
wrote.
I have 20-something books, so I know you're
This
like,
one might
what
come-
had happened? What was that one that had
what was the
happened?
one?
That was it.
No, it was the book about don't pick up the phone.
Oh, don't call them.
Don't call them. Yeah, that one. It was another one of your books that was straight and to the point, and that has resonated with me in the past also, because oftentimes, and I've talked to a lot of people leaving that relationship, and then you already may be struggling. We already may be struggling with not contacting that person, and we do so well for so long, and then either that drunk call comes in or the
Right.
happenstance meetings. What have you found or written along those lines that could be helpful to us?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, go pick up Don't Call Them, available on all book platforms and hollycotton.com. So Don't Call Them. So again, so my first book, when I started venturing into the relationship aspect, was Somebody's Wife or Not. And so I like, when I was doing the press on that, I spoke very heavily of stop focusing on the value that you have contingent on being someone's wife. You know how many people that are wives that I know of that are in terrible relationships, that are getting cheated on, that are being humiliated, that they don't even know about it. Like, their man is just a dog on the side, but you're so happy to hold on to that last name. You're so happy thinking that, he's mine, but with that, are you really winning? So there comes like that gray area about that. So for me, I was like, you know what, I always say I'm not anti-relationship or anti-marriage. I'm pro self-love. So love yourself enough to choose what you want yourself to be involved in, and that's a key thing, because a lot of times you get so consumed by that person in that relationship defining you. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what you like. You only know yourself as that person's last name. And so Somebody's Wife or Not, that was the thing that I talked about. And then, as I'm talking about it, every time people tell me something, or we're in having a dialogue or having a conversation, I make a mental note. So the feedback was, I know you're saying I should love myself, but like, how do I get away? Or I still love them, or they were a part of my life for so long, and what am I supposed to do? So that's why I don't call them. I was like, you know what? Let me help you. Like, let me help you guide you through that. And in my books, I always put tangible steps, tangible resources, activities, questions, checkpoints. I always put stuff in, because I don't want to just be someone that writes books and then you read 40 pages and you put it down. You know how many books I have in my house where I've only read the first 20, 30 pages. And then I'm like, I got mental, I absorbed some of it, but I didn't finish the book, right? I don't want people to not finish my book. I want people to get to the end of my book and be doing the activities or figuring out how they can actually implement that into their lives. So, so Don't Call Them, again, that's really what I was like, okay, what is it that you're getting when you're calling them? What is the shift of energy when you do hear their voice or when you speak to them? And then also, how can you resist it? So I had, activities that you can do, like make a playlist, make a jar with every bad thing that they ever did to you that hurt you. Anytime you were crying about something or you were sad in your car, and it's applicable for men and women, because women be out here gutting men too. We are not just the innocent victims. Women do some stuff too that's pretty shisty. So what is it that they're doing, and put it in a jar. And when you have that longing, pull one of those things out. You know what? Never mind. The feeling has passed now, and also I try to make sure that I'm always realistic on how we are as humans. We are humans. Especially if you're someone like me, I have a huge heart. So when someone does something to me, I take it hard for like that first moment, because I'm like, wow, because that's not how I am. Like, I'm always the friend that's there for you. You can call me for anything. I'm very easy to communicate with. I over communicate, because I'm like, okay, let's talk about why this was this way. Why do you feel that way? So if someone does something to me, I feel like, why would you ever choose that option instead of just talking about it? Because I'm here. So, so I think it's just like all of those things are kind of part of it. So I want to make sure that, the reality of it is that life is hard, and hurt is real, and we are humans. So those reactions, don't feel bad. Like, don't feel like you have to suppress every single reaction. Like, if something hurts me, it's okay for me to say, okay, that hurt me, and a lot of times we want to put up this wall, like, I'm big and bad and you can't hurt my feelings and this and that. And yeah, you get to a point where you do harden, but it's also okay in those moments to say, dang, I'm being vulnerable right now, but that really hurt me, you know? So I try to get a good mix of those two things. So don't call them, because again, we know it's gonna come. You're gonna have the longing. I've been driving before the song came on the radio,
the
and
song.
I'm like, yeah, the song, and then you see the little year next to the song, and you're like, oh my God, 8 years ago today we were in, you know, whatever. So again, you're gonna have those flashbacks. You have a brain, you have a heart, you have feelings. So take the moment. It's just how long you sit in the moment. That's the healing part.
Yeah, and some of the things you're saying, I do. And I do believe, and I've heard people say, you can tell a lot about a person because there's more of an emphasis on self-love these days. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing a lot and hearing a lot of people say that you can tell a lot about a person and how much they love themselves by the partner, the person that they choose, and what they tolerate in that relationship. So,
and not only that, but sometimes it's choosing yourself. That's the self-love. Because if you're, that's what I said, like for the breakup books or for relationship or for self-love, think about it. If I'm defining love by you loving me, I'm going to keep going into toxic situations. I'm going to keep finding people who are sharks in the water, or people who need someone to be vulnerable or submissive to make them feel better. But if I come in and I'm powerful with loving myself and being okay with being alone, then now when I meet people, I'm not needing you to complete me. I'm needing you to add to me. And that's a problem that a lot of people have. I need a relationship to make me feel completed. Again, let's be realistic. Everyone longs for a partner. Everyone longs for someone to be with. I'm not saying go and everything is just great and you're in bed at night and you're clutching a pillow and it's a great thing. But I say, if you have peace with loving yourself and not dealing with unnecessary stuff or getting your heart broken, that's self-love. So sometimes the love is loving you. Sometimes you are your soulmate. Like, be your own soulmate right now while you're searching in the universe and putting it out there and manifesting and willing a partner and this and that, all of the things that people say, right, to find love. But while you're here, love you so much that no one can take that away. And then if someone comes in there, not the person you're supposed to be with, they can go. They're not taking you. They're not pulling anything from you. They weren't your completion. They were your addition.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful in itself.
Oh,
and
I just be talking. I just be talking.
And sometimes I pause because the wheels are turning. I'm thinking about things, and for me, getting to a certain age and have listened to so many people and watched people experience so many things, and also personally experience so many things, you know, I'm always wanting to add to something that could, you know, even if it gets the wheels turning for somebody else, like it does for me, I think it's
well, you know, they say
really
age,
important.
with age comes wisdom. So we smart.
Yeah, I hope so.
We smart now. We smart.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, what I hear people saying a lot that, and more frequently, and maybe I'm just more open by talking to so many more people these days, that people are saying that in their relationships that they end up leaving, a lot of times they feel as if, you know, whatever the hurt or the trauma or whatever they went through, if they didn't learn the lesson from it, that they'll go to the next relationship and many times pick up those same issues or problems. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that it's very easy to trauma bond with other people. So sometimes if you haven't healed from what hurt you, and you have those same things that hurt you, we come together and we trauma bond. So you think that the relationship is so great, but really the bond is basically both of us, is contingent on both of us being hurt, and that hurt brought us together like a magnet. So I think that I wouldn't call it a lesson. Like, I don't think that you're learning a lesson from every relationship. I think a lesson is something that I'm open to listening to, and I'm taking key pointers, and it's like then you become strategic in your next relationship. So I think not everyone has to love that way or look at relationships as a strategic partnership, even though obviously that's the ideal, right? But I think that when you are doing when you're focused on that aspect of it, you lose the romantic side of a lot of stuff. And I am a huge, like, I'm a romantic. I love all the goofy stuff, all the love, all the movies, all the things. So for me, even though I'm alert, right? So I don't want to say it's not a lesson, but I'm alert if it's some similarities in the next relationship, right? And I say relationship, whether that we talking about partnership, work relationship, friendship, whatever, right? So I start noticing some ways that you talk. Girls especially, it's the same thing, because women can get real catty. And so I'm not catty, like I'm all about women empowerment. So when I start meeting women and they say kind of the same things, or I see that's like a little subtle diss on certain things, I'm immediately like, okay, so this is probably like, this is how they're feeling, or this could lead to that. Maybe it's a little bit of envy. So I'm not saying I'm not your friend, but I'm definitely more attuned to those things. So again, I don't like the word lesson, because I feel that now it's like, now it's a conspiracy. Now I gotta go and I gotta pull out the lesson plan and be like, A, B, C. Well, if he does this, this means this. If he does this, he means that. Even though I think, oh God, who said that recently? He was on the red carpet and they asked him about heartbreak. And he said, I would rather my heart be broke than not, because that means I'm living, and that means I felt love. And so for me, that's how I am. Like, I rather love and give whatever I have to friendships, to relationships, to loved ones, to family, to my kids, whatever. I'd rather be on this side where I gave all the love that I had. And if you hurt me in the end, I'll take the heartbreak. In 2 months, I'll be over it. And then I'm not going to let that jade me from not doing the same thing with the next. And if you're looking at it as a lesson, now I can't be who I really am, because now I'm holding back. Now I'm doing this. I can't do that. I don't want to. Again, be cautious. Like, don't go in and be like, hey, we just met, I love you. Like, no, we're not saying that. But at the same time, I think I like the authenticity of who I am, and I don't want previous heartbreaks or friendships or relationships to stop me from giving you the best version of me. Just my opinion. But do y'all.
No, and I like, even when you were talking about learning, I thought about growth also. So strategic is easy for some of us at times to think that way, but also how much are we willing to give of ourselves when we stick to that mindset and we're not open to other things. And that's one of the reasons also when you mentioned and I'm glad you did, the different types of relationships, because a lot of times I can use the word relationships or intimacy, and they automatically
romantic.
They automatically go a certain place in someone's mind. I was reading, I think it was yesterday, it was a woman that turned 108 years old. And I never heard anybody say, but she said she had been married twice. And she said she wouldn't get married again because at that age, if she marries somebody, she's likely going to be a caretaker.
Right.
But also, she said one of the things that she regularly does is read romance books, romance novels. And I thought, like, wow, there's something to it. Everything else that she said was pretty much things that we could easily see. But that one thing there, it gave, it made me want to think more about, like, well, what else is coming out of that and how it shapes our brain, our thoughts, and our thinking. I've heard also, whether you call it a trend or whatever you want to call it, is that it seems like people are willing to tolerate more for the sake of a relationship, whether it's cheating. There's an adage now, well, as long as the money is coming home.
As long as it's a respectful cheat, then we okay.
There you go. There you go. And that's what I heard.
Just don't be out here embarrassing me.
That's exactly, I heard someone say that within the last couple of days. Well, is anybody calling you or harassing you? What's the problem then? So is that a to each his own, or do you think that sometimes we can just go through those situations and think they'll work, and by the time we find out they don't work, we've again, there's only so much time, and some people say time is not your friend. What do you think about those types of situations?
I mean, again, to each his own. If you have the lifestyle, if you're okay with settling, I mean, I've come from a relationship, because my thing is, when I start talking about self-love, here come the men trying to bash me all the time. Oh, you're not going to be somebody's wife, or, oh, you used up, or you old, or how many miles you got on you now, this or that. And I'm like, listen, first of all, a man is the easiest thing to get. Like, if I wanted to be married today, I could call it any, it ain't like I can't, that's not an option for me. Now, the part is, who do I want to be married to? What are the pros and cons? What are the things that I want to do? Where do I want to live? What part of the country do I want to be in? So again, same thing for men. It's very easy to find a woman that's going to love your dirty draws. It's just, what are the things that you value? Where do you want to be? Do you want to be in a relationship like that? So it's easy to settle. Like, it's so easy to settle. And I think that you just have to do what you want to do for you. Some people are tired of being alone. Some people are tired of being lonely, so no shade to them at all. It's what are you willing to do? Like, one of the things is the physical characteristics, right? Some people put a high emphasis on, I need to be physically attracted to whoever I'm with. Obviously, that first inkling is, well, he ain't that bad, or, oh, she alright, whatever. So, it goes from, oh my God, they're so hot, to, I mean, I guess I could be with them, and so it's like, are you settling, or are you relaxing your standards, so it's to each his own. Like, what are the things that are important to you, or, again, like in Somebody's Wife or Not, I have a part that I talk about, build a partner. I said most single people, like how they have the Build-A-Bear, most single people have a build a partner. You have the head, who's the person that you're calling when you want to talk about stuff, or you have things that are going on. You usually have like a analytical, logical friend that you can talk to and vent about that, or someone that you're dating. I say friend, but then you might have someone that likes action movies. I like action movies. The one that has a logical head, they don't. They want to go watch, the long documentaries in 48 hours every day. So you ain't the one I'm taking to see DC Marvel, so there might be someone else. It could then, maybe that one and that one you're not sexually attracted to. So then you have someone that where y'all have the chemistry is hot and heavy, so that's your torso. That's it. So a lot of times when people are dating, they're dating multiple people because they're building a partner. And, again, with that, because I go back and forth with my girlfriend all the time, and she's like, okay, well, if you're building a partner, are you okay with the people that you're talking to building a partner too? And I'm like, yeah, like, until you come up with the actual verbiage of we are exclusive, we are in a relationship, you is single, act accordingly. Like, quit making yourself not accessible to other people when you guys aren't intentionally or monogamous or exclusive, whatever word you want to put it, until those words are there. So I think that there's a settling that comes there. You have to figure out what's your priority, and I'm no judgment, because like, figure it out. You're off in travel. You might have someone, oh, I finally found someone that loves to travel with me, and you're happy and the best couple or whatever. What are the things that are important to you? I can't answer that for you.
Yeah. And I was laughing because, the question, when I presented it to you and you started sharing, I immediately knew that variety of what partners and being together and finding someone that you want to settle down with, how different the views can be on that. And we could go on for days with, the way the world is, and what people, again, are willing to accept now also. So what are some of the things, if you were to put everything in a nutshell, talking to so many people that you have over time, do you find anything that's kind of a common denominator? And again, when we say relationships, you've already mentioned, like, there's a lot of different types, and just building strong, committed, lasting relationships, whether they are, someone you see settling down with versus, might even be a strong relationship, friendship. Are there common denominators or qualities that you see that speak out to you?
As far as what people are looking for?
Yes.
So I think one of the huge obstacles that a lot of people have is the friendship part of a relationship. And I feel that a lot of people lose that part. So the complaints are always, we can't laugh, we can't talk, we can't joke, because you were looking for these things. You were looking for aesthetics, you were looking for stability, you're looking for someone to raise my kids, but you don't even like that person. You guys don't even have a great time. So I think it's very important for people to stay in that friendship phase longer and find out, are we compatible? Because, that's why they always tell you take a trip with someone or take a road trip with someone, because you'll learn right away. Can we sit in the car for 4 hours and make it without putting one of us getting put out on the side of the road? Like, can we make it going through an airport without this person talking to me crazy, or, whatever it is, like, whatever those triggers are of the disrespect, being able to pivot with an obstacle. That's a huge thing that a lot of people don't realize. If, like, for me, I need someone that's just as analytical as me. I don't want to be the one that's always making every decision and telling you what to do, like my child. I need you to be like, hey, my recommendation is this, or what do you think about this, or whatever. Like, I hate yes men, and so I'm very dominant, like, in my personality and the way that I speak, because I'm a businesswoman, and you're not going to play with me and my money. So I'm immediately, like, I'm friendly, but I'm not always nice, And so I have to explain that to people. I make decisions all the time. So if I'm allowing you to come in and be in my life, you need to lead. You need to show me I can trust you to lead. So I think that, that part of the friendship, I think, getting those gender roles, and also defining, like, what's important to you. Like, hey, you don't have to come off the grid saying, I need this. I always tell women, listen to the man talk. On the first date, on the second date, listen to the man talk. He will tell you exactly what he wants and what he's looking for. And don't change who you are, but give him a little bit more of that. Men will tell you, oh, so what happened? What was your last relationship like, or whatever? Oh my God, she never fixed me the ice cream, and I love cookies and cream ice cream. Or, she never, at the store, she never got me the peanut butter I liked. They will say the smallest thing. Listen, take that, and now go get the man some peanut butter. It's okay to be submissive. It's not always where we have to butt heads, but again, I'm a romantic. So I listen to those things, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what you like. Oh, okay, that's what you like. Well, I don't need this. I just want a woman to cook for me, or I want this, or I want that, or okay, so you want a woman that's in her femininity, and she's gonna like do those gender things for you because like listen to what they're saying. A man will tell you exactly what he wants, and just give him a little bit more of that. You can still hold on to everything you are, but just be like, oh, so you want someone to take you out for ice cream? Hey, I got an idea for a date. There's this new froyo place right over here. I was thinking we could try.
Yeah, and once again, it is good to pay attention to those things because you may not want to do them at all. And
that part too, yeah.
It could be the early out for you if you just pay
you're listening.
attention.
You're like, what are they? Oh, what?
Yeah.
No one's ever done your laundry, baby. That's not me. Like, I'm not either.
So yeah, but
what do you think about men and as far as that aspect of the friendship and learning a woman, and what is the woman like? What does a woman need? Like, what's your opinion?
I do believe that you said some key elements that are very important to me, like the sense of humor. Like I have like a crazy sense of humor. So, and a lot of people that I'm around, maybe it's because they're dealing with such difficult situations with supporting and serving others that you don't get to see that other side. So then when they get to actually let loose and bring it out, they enjoy that and they want to be around somebody that can see that also. But to me also the little things mean a lot and they go a long way. And for me, and I think for a lot of men in general, and maybe it's changing nowadays, but I know from the generation I grew up, there always was this thing, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as that. When a person has had a hard day, being there to support them and just knowing that you're paying attention and you're not having to tell the people those things or tell the person those things. And it can go the same way in the workplace. You don't want to tell someone, after the fourth or fifth time and you're working with them and you're hoping to grow with them and they're not learning it, you don't want to keep saying it over and over again. So there's and when you ask the question, I'm giving you somewhat of what my answer is, but at the same time, I know I'm not the typical male from being in the military to working in a lot of departments and places where it was primarily just men, that there seemed to be, I'm going to use the word hard, but I don't want it to be switched to mean that I'm soft. But you know what I'm saying? That, the macho and sometimes even pushing towards the chauvinistic and, attitudes and stuff and those approaches. I've just always watched people since I was a child, and so I'm always just wanting to learn about other people and hoping that they'll learn about me. And I know in the end that makes most of the time, if two people are willing to pay attention and grow together, they'll grow together and stuff. So
yeah, being intentional about it.
Intentional is the word. So I want to make sure I let you share about your book, that you have a new book out. I want to hear all about that.
Yeah.
So,
well, no worries, because I have a copy here. So this is my newest book called The Hard Choice. And the subheading is When the High Road Feels Like Losing. So in my book, I have, that's my mercy right there. So in my book, I have different chapters. And this is for obviously relationships, when we're talking about romantic relationships, dealing with a breakup, breaking up with a friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, someone that was a close friend group to you, but also work, family. Everything is in here. So I have different chapters about it. They played in your face. The big thing I talk about is the courtroom in your head. when silence looks like guilt, because sometimes taking the high road means don't say anything. But then if someone is saying that, like, especially when it's like something where you're being accused of something, and then you're like, if I show these screenshots, but what comes with that, now I look bad. I talk about triggers, when protecting your name costs you your peace, mutual friends, and when the high road doesn't feel like winning, obviously. So one of the big analogies that I have in it is about the courtroom in your head, because the courtroom in your head, obviously think about it as court, right? So you're the plaintiff, I'm the defendant at this point, right? So you're saying they're crazy, or, you know, something is wrong with them, or they did this, and I'm over here, and now I'm feeling like I need to defend myself. I need to get on the witness stand and tell my side of the story. If they knew my side, if they saw these screenshots, if they saw these emails, if they saw this, I could defend myself, right? Because I'm coming with exhibit A, B, C through Z, right? You already presented your case. But what does the defense do a lot of times? They have the person that's being charged, and they won't even put them on the witness stand. You know how many times you see that, and they're like, the witness didn't even take the stand, because it's like, are they going to damage it more? You know, sometimes we're just going to be quiet. So again, that courtroom in your head is constantly going like, I have another exhibit. Think about 3 months after something happened where somebody played in your face, and you're like, oh, and also, I remember that time that they did such and such, or that picture comes up on your, you know, your algorithm, or your, you know, your archives or whatever. So it's like, it's constantly having a revisit to what happened. The hurt never ends. You know, you just feel like that one thing, and that's the whole don't call me, same thing. You know, the person is like, if I just told them one more time, or if I, you know, maybe if we talked again after 2 months went by, after 3 months went by, maybe things would be different. It would be a different perspective. So again, courtroom in your head. And then I want to break stuff down, because the truth of the matter is that we all have taken the high road, and it doesn't always feel good. It doesn't feel like you won, especially in a breakup, right? Because that person left. Now they're in a new relationship, or they went back with someone, especially like cheating, right? Because the person they told you don't worry about is now who the person that they're with. And then you're like, I'll be dang. Like, you know, so there's so much that happens on the trigger side, on the, you know, feeling like I need to tell my side of the story. And then the peace that you like, we always talk about this peace, where there is a peace. Protect your peace. Protect your peace. Peace doesn't always feel good, and peace isn't easy, and peace is a daily investment. I could have woke up this morning and chose violence on several situations again, you know. So it's like peace and healing are ongoing. They are daily investments. And people think, once I forgive someone, or once I get to a space, I'm going to plateau. No, you're never going to plateau. Now, you might not be as easily triggered. You might have more ability to push that away when the thought comes in your head, but it's normal. You had you were invested in something. You had feelings about someone, you know. So again, I always try to be real about the situations. Like, okay, we get it. They played in your face. Now, this is what you can do with that. This is how you can get to a point of where you don't need to go that way. Let's talk about the courtroom. What are you losing? What are you doing? How are you protecting your peace? Let's talk about that. How do you get to that phase? So I try to be really, I'm very analytical. So I'm like, okay, so you saying I can make $1 million today. Okay. So I need to do A, B, back up again. A, B, C. People will listen to someone, oh, make $1 million. You're in the room, you're sitting next to someone, and you don't listen to the plan. You're just like, oh, you have the idea, and now I have to go home and decipher what it is that you said to make that relatable to me. I'm not that way. I'm already asking you. So for someone like me that's doing A, B, and C, how can I implement that? So it's the same thing with every other thing in life, you know? So again, I try to make sure I'm very realistic. How can you actually put this book to work today? What can you do? Do not call them today. You take the high road today. This is what to do when you're triggered today, so T-A. And then, at the end, I have always have some stuff to do. Like, I always put activities at the end, of what you can do, final word for the hard days is what I call it. And so, because again, there'll be days when it is not easy. There's days where, I literally just went through something not too long ago, and, my friends had to hear me for 2 months, talking about it. And they were like, bro, when is this going to be over? And I finally got to the other side. And then there's times where I'm driving and I just I immediately feel something, and that's normal. It's human. It's how long you allow those feelings to be a part of your thought process. Like, okay, I had the feeling, and then it also becomes the part of where you start feeling stupid about how you were in that situation. My loyalty was, I was giving that person my loyalty. I was giving that person the best part of me, and they basically pooped on it, and like, that's hard when you have an ego, when you have pride, like it's hard. And you feel like all these people are thinking that I was the bad guy, but you were the bad guy. And so you want to like tell why. But with that comes you hurting your reputation, because now you look like the one that, why are you coming out a month later or 3 months later or 2 months later or 6 months later? What are you trying to get from this now? Like, it's already passed. So what's the goal of it? It gets to that point where then it shifts where you really do look bad. You do look like the bad guy. And then that person gets away, and I was on a podcast not too long ago, and the guy said, he was like, they'll get their karma though. And I said, no, they won't. That's something that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better about a situation. They're not going to you have no control. God, the universe, whoever you believe in is not going to say, that person hurt Holly, they're getting some karma. Now, I do believe about the shift of energy. I do believe that, when you put out bad energy is going to find you. So I may not be the one that hurts you, but you're still the same person. So what you're doing, somebody else is going to come in and hurt you or give you that back. But I don't think that's like, we can't control that karma's going to come back. But the karma I can control is, you will never have access to me again. You will never have my friendship again. You will never have my love again. So your karma that I know for a fact that you're getting is you lose me. So hold on to that when you're thinking about, they're going to get their this or they're not, or they're out and they're happy and they're working somewhere and they're doing this, or you see them and you're like, God, they look so happy. I wish they hurt like they hurt me. They are, because now all the great that you gave them is gone. You take that, you hold that power. So, hold on to that. So anyway, a bunch of stuff in the book, The Hard Choice, get it, pick it up.
Yeah. And I'll definitely have to read it. And it was short notice that I knew about the book, and everything's moving fast for you also, but there's so many profound things that you just shared. And while you're sharing them, even for myself, when I look back on some experiences, I feel like the old adage of you're preaching to the choir, because I have verbally said to people before that you're going to get back what you just did to me. You're going to get back, whether I believe that or not. Maybe it was just me wanting to put some guilt on them, hoping that they would have guilt. Maybe they would or would not have that guilt. But even when you talk about the case, and I call it receipts, when you have so much, you have so much information.
We all have analogies that we use for it. Same thing.
Yeah, but the aspect of the court, again, as you're speaking, I'm thinking of people that don't have to say anything. They do what's called I rest my case.
That's why I said court adjourned.
Yeah, court adjourned, but also at the same time, there can be a difference between rest and peace.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a lot of difference between that. So all of those aspects. So I'll have to read the book and pick it apart for myself to see how I can use it for myself.
Well, and that's
so
why
I'll
I
be
said,
going
like,
to get
everything isn't applicable to everyone. Like, everything, again, when I talk, that's why I said, I just talk, and people will say stuff like, I get people all the time after I'm somewhere, and they're like, wow, when you had said that such and such, that resonated with me. So it's like, I know that my purpose in life and why I'm here to talk or whatever is to help other people. And so that's why I talk. That's why I give it freely. That's why I do stuff, because I feel like there's one person who might need that. And when I was trying to find out, when I was doing the shift of going from Holly the nurse to Holly the media personality and author or whatever, I didn't have anyone that was giving that. Like, everything they, charge $500 for a ticket, or was this or that, or was this or that. So anything that I can do, you can take it. You don't listen at all. I don't care. You're stagnant, not me. So it's like, but when you're in these spaces where you might be able to, like, put that on someone. And I also like my books. I try to keep my books always reasonably priced, $12.99, $12.99. So you can go spend $20 on. I can go to Chick-fil-A right now. My 12 count is like $13. So get something. Again, it's like, everything that I do is to help you be a better person and cope and just be realistic about it. So yeah, take stuff out of it. It's easy to do that.
Well, I'm definitely grateful for having you here with us today, and hopefully we'll get to do some things together in the future. I do have some group settings, and the demographics that read my book is primarily younger women. So when I connected with you previously, I was like, I need her in one of those classrooms when it's all women. So we'll have to discuss that and the possibility of that happening. But also tell us what else is going on, or where to find you on the internet again as we finish.
Oh, I'm so easy. Holly Cotton. Google me. HOLLYCOTTON. My website is hollycotton.com. All of my social medias are Holly Cotton. I have a series in Houston that I do, The Insider, with Holly Cotton. Well, I don't want it to just be Houston, but since I live here, I seem to get more stuff. But so I have that I'm working on. Hopefully y'all will see me on Roku or something soon. And then, of course, all of my books from my autobiography about cancer all the way to The Hard Choice. Everything is available. Walmart, Target, Books A Million, wherever, anywhere that sells book, of course, Amazon. And then my adolescent mental health organization is yourmindyourmagic.com. And again, there's a little pink tab right there, a little oval, and it says get your magic words here. Just give it to your kid. When it's 2:00 in the morning and they need someone to talk to and it ain't you, they can go on there and they can have a whole conversation with the magic bot. It's totally safe. I've been highlighted on numerous platforms about it. Again, it's like, it's legit, and we're just trying to use AI for positive stuff, and so they can go on there, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I look forward to seeing you doing more great and bigger things. I know that we'll see you on some larger platforms in the future. So again, thanks for being here, and we thank everyone for watching, and we hope that you enjoyed the show and was able to get some bits of nugget out of it also. So thanks again for joining us.